Policy 2020, there are so many sectors and parameters. Among them, one very important section is skill development. You know very well that today's world is skill driven. 21st century has been recognized as the century where people can survive and grow and move the society to the next level only through skills. So keeping this in view, in NEP, there is a lot of scope given to so many initiatives related to the development and the promotion of skills among Indian students who will become the future citizens of our country. Each one of us know that the real wealth of a country is the educated mass. Students and citizens who are highly skilled are the need of the hour. So keeping this in view, there are so many initiatives that have taken place or that have been given a lot of prominence in NEP 2020. So keeping that in view, we have a session on skill development initiatives of Government of India and even some of the states of our country regarding what skills have been proposed and developed among the future Indian citizens. So you know very well that the quality of education has been improving when compared to pre-independence India till now. There were so many commissions, so many committees which were formulated, as a matter of state and central policy of education, like Ramamurthy Committee, Kothari Commission. Then there were so many commissions after independence. National Policy of Education, you must be knowing about, 1986, which was again marginally revised in the year 1992, again in the year 1996, again in 2000, and finally a revolutionary milestone was in the year 2005. Most of you must be knowing about National Curriculum Framework 2005. Now that in fact changed the entire scenario of classroom teaching, where constructivistic approach was strongly proposed in that. So after that, 20 years back, it came into existence, that is NCF 2005, National Curriculum Framework. After that, and one of the most important, most significant change in the Indian education scenario is NEP 2020. So over the last 3 or 4 decades, a lot of changes have taken place in Indian education system in almost all segments and sectors of it. Still, there are many problems like lack of initiatives related to infrastructural development. Enrollment is still a big problem. Quality issues are always there. And the very aim of education is to bring in equity and equality among Indian citizens. That is still there. So all these problems are still going on. Keeping all these things in view, NEP 2020 has been taken up, which provides innovative solutions right from preschool education, that is LKG and UKG, up to post-doctoral research education level in Indian context. So it's a policy document that outlines the very vision for 21st century, how the education should be, and what measures can be taken up to enhance the quality of education like that. Most of you must be knowing by this time that it was approved by the Union Cabinet on 29th July 2020. So now it is almost 5 years since the inception of NEP 2020. I hope all of you are hearing or listening to me. I am sorry if I am not, interactive with you. In future, now I can ask you some of the questions in between. Since it is online, I hope each one of you will enjoy the session. It is highly theoretical. My dear friends, let me tell you that this issue, the issue which I am discussing with you, is very important from 2 points of view. I want everybody to listen to me carefully. Okay, foregoing all other kinds of commitments that you have in your places. Number one, as a assistant professor or as a man of education or academics, everybody should know what is NEP, when was it introduced or when it came into operation, what are the various parameters, then different sections of NEP, what it is doing for skill development, what is it doing for primary education, secondary education, then PU education, higher education, undergraduation, so all these things, vocational education, like that. So being an academician, each one of us should know about all these things. Second one, we need to understand what our country is doing through NEP 2020 and what is it expecting us as teachers and teacher educators to join our hands so that the very vision of 2020 will be realized in the very near future, so that our country becomes one of the topmost 3 countries in the world. Now we are almost in the top 5. We are into 3rd position now. We need to become number 1. It is possible only through education, only through your positive approach. So I request each one of you to listen to each and every idea here that has been shared and support being teachers so that our country moves very fast. And let me tell you, this is for the sake of your own students in your colleges or universities, and more than that, or equally with that, your own children at home who are being educated, children or grandchildren. So we are a part of this initiative. So keeping that ethical issue in our mind, we need to understand everything carefully. So one is, you need to know. Second, you should know these things because you have a role to play for the sake of your own students in your colleges and universities. And third, and the most important thing is, you need to understand all these things so that your own children at home or grandchildren at home will have the benefit out of it. So from these 3 points of view, we need to know. Then, you know that it is a revolutionized, system that we have today. Lot of changes have been going on, progressive changes, especially in those states which have accepted and which have implemented or executed NEP initiatives. And this NEP has been initiated keeping in view or focusing on holistic development. We will understand what holistic development later. And definitely a progressive country with lot of scope given to vocational skills. And everyone know what vocational skill is and how it is very important these days. So with increased investments and decentralization, NEP aims to make India a knowledge superpower. And I want everybody to know these statistical issues, very, very important. And this slide, now we'll go by slides. Otherwise, this is a very vast area which provokes me to speak so many things. And I'll try to be focused on the contents which I have condensed on slides. So I want everybody to look on the slide and try to understand. And these slides will be shared to you at the end of the session. You know, India is one of the youngest nations in the world. Youngest. Number 1. With more than, look at this, 54% of the total population of India is below 25 years of age. So people under 25 years will constitute more than 50%. That means almost 54-55% of our Indian population is very young. Then nearly 62% of the population is in the working age group. Working age means you must know, in Indian construct, people will start working from 15 years, let us suppose, either in formal sectors or informal sectors, either officially or unofficially. So 15 to 60, let us suppose. So 62% of Indians, they fall into this age group, 15 to 60 years. So this demographic advantage will last only until 2040. Now this is an advantage for us. That means Indian young people are working very well, and nearly 62% are still working, okay, below 60 years. And all those people who reach 60 years will get retired, some of them up to 62 years, some of them up to 65 years. So even after that, they will retire. So when compared to other countries in the world, we have got almost 60+% of the total population who are still working. Now that is why India is rushing so much ahead of other countries towards achievement of very high GDP. Our economic development is so fast that we have occupied the first top 10 or top 5 positions within a span of 15 to 20 years. Unbelievably, we are ahead of all other developed countries in the world. But we cannot enjoy this kind of status furthermore, because in another 15 to 20 years, this kind of demographic scenario will not exist. So India, therefore, has a very narrow time frame to harness the demographic dividend and to overcome all its skill shortages. Right now, we have got the shortage of skills. So this is called India's skilling challenge. So it is further affected by the fact that skill training efforts will cut across multiple sectors and require involvement of diverse stakeholders, multiple departments of government, both at center and state level. Again, government as well as private sectors. So government alone cannot do anything and everything. We need to take the support of the private sectors, either for training or for skill enhancement or for recruitment or for professional development. Without private sectors, government agencies alone cannot do it. They can, but the progress would be very, very slow. So we all depend on all different sectors, private, public, then community centers, NGOs, industries, for training, for education, for assessment, for certification, for all these things. This is a great challenge because you know very well, India is a very vast country with too much of population, too many industries, lot of diversities in all sectors of human life. We see the highest diversity context or highest diversity coefficient in India when compared to any other country in the world. So that can be both advantageous as well as disadvantageous. So this is a very great challenge. So all these stakeholders need to align. So all of us will have to come to one line so that we work together and we make our India skill India in the future. Now, that is the vision of the government also. Okay, fine. And you know very well that even among the existing youth who are in the age group of say 15 and 69 or 15 to 60, almost 50-55% of the Indians who are not skilled. Those who are among youth, let me tell you, among the youth, so out of every 100, there are only 50 students or 50 youth are having some skills to work. Other 50 are educated or uneducated, but without any kind of what? Skills. So they are unemployed are employed without necessary skills. Now, this is a very great and very important threat to us. And a study was conducted by International Labor Organization, which says that nearly 75% of all the companies surveyed, okay, that report has been given, there is something called skill gap. This skill gap you must know what is skill gap. What is the skill expected out of a person, but what is the skill existing in him? So this is something called a gap that is existing between expected normative requirements but existing realities. We want this kind of skill. Minimum level of skills should be there like this, but they are not possessing. Even today, if you go to some government or private organizations, especially in government organizations, I'm sorry to tell you, the people who are working in different positions, they lack the skills which are supposed to be there for them in that kind of position. For example, computer operational skills are not existing in many people. Life skills are very much lacking in them. Especially profession-related skills are lacking in them. So this is a great threat. As per the International Labor Organization, there will be a skill deficit of 29 million by 2030, which will significantly affect the country's GDP. In Indian context, nearly 29 million, 1 million means 10 lakhs, you understand. So within another 5 years, now it is 2025, so we need almost 29 to 30 millions of people who are skill-based. So you need to understand what is the problem or the threat that we are living now. Our own children need to have skills. India is growing economically. Okay, India is growing with population. But look, if our children, our youth, our students do not have the minimum required level of skills, very soon they become unemployed. Now, this is a problem. And unemployed or underemployed youth will be a great threat to our Indian society. A man without a minimum level of income, without survival skills, having a kind of job in the hand, will become a liability to the society. That is where we need to think, we need to worry a lot. And very soon, these jobless or unemployed youth naturally become antisocial elements. That threat is always there. So our society gets staggered. Nothing can be done because everybody wants to survive with minimum level of income in their professions. And this is possible only when they have skill in their hands. Then only they can survive. So right now, knowledge is very important. Understanding of the society is very important. Application of the knowledge to solve the problems in the society is utmost important. And added to this, the most important and significant thing is we need to have what is called skill. Otherwise, knowledge, awareness, attitude, all these things will get wasted in the absence of skills. I hope you understand the burning issue of Indian context in the near future. So according to a research conducted by National Association of Software and Service Companies, that is called NASSCOM, we need to know that this is really doing wonderful thing. Every year, more than 3 million graduates and postgraduates are added to the Indian human resource, and out of these, only 25% of IT graduates are considered employable by fast-growing IT and other industries related. Now, I have prepared these slides around 3 to 4 months back. Now, the scenario is again changed. You can understand that within these 6 months, the previous 6 months, lot of changes have taken place. Now, gone are those days, just a year back or 2 years back, that we felt that all those IT graduates are safe. they will have lot of scope when compared to other, when compared to people who are graduated in other sectors, especially basic sciences, courses like law, management, okay, and something like that, medical or engineering, something like that. But now even IT industries are under stake, are under some problem. We are looking into so many cross-sectional analysis where a national level national level software companies, okay, they are also declaring layoff. And very recently, one of the most significant, say, software company has said that around 5,500 people have been given pink check suddenly. So like that it is going on. We are seeing that people with engineering graduation are working for 20,000, 30,000 like that. So last 6 months have evidenced this kind of negative fall. So what is the lesson that we need to understand from this? Even people who are graduated under IT industries, they are also not safe today. So any kind of education without skills will definitely of no use or little use at present and definitely in the future. So this is, of course, on one hand good, and on the other hand it is not good. Now anything that affects the balance of a society is not good. A man who works as a laborer or a laborer in a field, okay, a coolie or somebody like that, he will earn more than 800 to 1,000 rupees per day today. So his income would cross around 25 to 30,000 rupees. A man who is totally graduated either in IT industry or any other industries, he is also earning the same. So we are seeing that there is something called equality, if not equity. So on this ground, we can say that the society is balanced. A man who works using intellectual abilities and a man, on the other hand, works using muscular power, they all are earning almost the same kind of income, whether it is a day income or a monthly income or annual income. So muscular power or muscular energy has been recognized today. Of course, in skills, you have got two types. One is soft skills and the other one is hard skills. So people with both hard skills as well as soft skills, they are having income to the same level. So that creates a kind of equality and even to some extent equity. So according to a survey by Skillsoft company, the skill gap in the IT sector is getting significantly widened. Even in IT industry, the skills are increasing. The gap is increasing. The two with With artificial intelligence, it is still increasing now. I do not know what is the consequence of the intervention of artificial intelligence right now. But in future, let us be very optimistic. There cannot be any sector of work in the society without the application of artificial intelligence. So everybody who is working now has to be qualified or has to undergo training related to the application of AI in their respective work sectors or work field, including teachers. Now, teachers with AI application skills are preferred in high-profile educational institutions at any level from pre-primary to university level of education. So keeping this in view, in future, we need to teach students, especially in teacher education, what is AI and how teachers can employ AI solutions to solve their problems in their respective teaching context. So keeping all these things in view, let us understand that NEP is only one avenue through which we can find out some solutions so that our children of home as well as educational institutions will be in safe hands. So skill gap is increasing. As much as 66% of IT decision makers see that the skill gaps in their teams is a major problem. So that I have already discussed about it. So skills and knowledge are the driving forces for any economic growth of even social development of any country. Countries with higher levels and better standards of skills adjust more effectively to the changes and opportunities in domestic as well as international job markets. So we are very happy to say that India is one such country, though there are some staggerings in between, will immediately get adjusted with the changing scenario of the job markets, both at national level as well as international level or global level. So we are lucky to have such kind of educated mass in our country. Now let us take another point. India currently faces a severe shortage of well-trained and skilled workers. It is estimated that only 2.3% of the workforce in India has undergone formal skill training as compared to 68% in UK, 75% in Germany, 52% in US, and almost 80% in Japan and 96% in South Korea. Now, let me tell you that this particular paragraph, which is given red color, okay, purposefully I have given red color, is an eye-catching paragraph. You just understand, India stands number one today as far as the population is concerned. But look at the percentage of total population who are what? Well-skilled, well-trained, having a lot of knowledge and application abilities. It's only 2.3% of the workforce. Workforce means what? Those who are in work, those who are doing work. So those who are already in service, now that segment of population has been considered and it is only 2.3%. Not even 3% out of 100 persons who are working now. Now take the cases of UK. Almost 68-70% who are working, they have the necessary skills. Germany 75%. Okay, 75%. Then US 52% and Japan 80%. We always praise Japan, you see. And if you take South Korea, it is 96%. That means out of every 100 persons who are employed, 96 persons are possessing the required level of knowledge, understanding, application abilities, attitude, awareness, and skills. So India is lagging very much behind. So large sections of the educated workforce have little or no job skills, making them largely unemployable. You see, unemployable. They cannot be employed, but still they can work. You see. Therefore, India must focus on scaling up skill training efforts. I want to catch your attention here. We need to do something. We need to upgrade. We need to think about what innovative things that we can do to make existing large population of graduates or people who are in workforce or working sector to become skilled. Now, that is a challenge. Otherwise, our economical growth in the next decade may fall down. So the introduction of NEP 2020 has been a bold movement that has revolutionized the Indian education industry. That is, everybody knows. It is expected to improve the education standards for students both in schools as well as in colleges. All these things we know. Revolutionary reforms transition from a learning-based approach. I want each one of you to know this. Transition from a learning-based approach to a skill-based model. Now, right now, of course, the things have changed from the previous 1 or 2 decades. All these years, knowledge was given more importance. Intellectual abilities were given more importance in the curriculum. But now, you take any curriculum which gives equal importance to skill when compared to knowledge. So, knowledge and skills are equally taken into consideration. So, this kind of skill-based modular approach in higher education especially is very important, and that can only save our country. So the proposal to introduce vocational education from 6th grade, look at this, from 6th grade, when a child enters 6th or 7th, he or she should be given vocational education. And create a national committee for the integration of vocational education is viewed. So there will be a separate committee which takes care of this. This is called National Committee for the Integration of Vocational Education. NCIVE has been established. Okay. So NEP adopts a learner-centered approach focusing on experiential and lifelong learning, vocational education, and the transformation of HEIs. So without modifying, without transforming higher education institutions, this remains a dream forever. So removing a rigid distinction among curricular, extracurricular, and co-curricular subjects in schools with the integration of vocational education into mainstream education is in a gradual manner is going on. Now slowly we are combining curricular, co-curricular, and extracurricular activities or subjects or learning issues. Along with integrating all these sectors into vocational education is going on. So this gives much required flexibility to students to realize their interest. Now, in many cases, children are not interested to study some courses. But earlier, all the students were forced to study that. Specialization used to begin only after graduation. Now it starts from 6th standard. I was looking into the curricular differentialities among different countries of the world. Most of the countries start identifying the skills that are necessary for a child right from pre-primary education. There are so many tools and techniques which the people are using to identify which child is good in which skill at pre-primary level itself, and that child will go to that particular stream only. So he will contribute a lot. So these kind of changes are going on even in India. So NEP envisages a renewed focus to promote creativity and curiosity among young minds to make the curriculum of schools and colleges more skill-oriented. Please understand that. Now, these days, the curriculum has been changed. You take teacher education or any other streams, skill component has been added to a greater extent, and that is a very good change. So skill development is a continuous process. It cannot happen overnight. So within a week or within, say, a semester, skills cannot be imbibed. So to become an Atmanirbhar, you must be knowing about what Atmanirbhar is. Atmanirbhar is nothing but self-sufficient. India should become self-reliant, self-dependent. Even today, we depend on other countries. You must know that most of the other countries are depending on India for their development. That is why immigration is more, immigration of Indians. So most of the Indians, brain drain is still going on to a greater extent. Indians have occupied prime positions in so many other countries, especially US. Other countries today are not in a position to survive without allowing Indian skilled laborers into their countries. They extremely depend on that. Economically, they may be very good, but intellectually, they depend on us. So India, having a lot of high intellectual power streams or power force, unfortunately, most of the Indians at higher level are moving to other countries. So we need to become self-sufficient. So this is possible only when we look into those graduates who remain in our country, to become highly skilled. So to become Atmanirbhar Bharat and a true knowledge-based economy, India needs to build innovative and advanced skills and go beyond automation and computers and electronics. See, automation, computers, electronics, or artificial intelligence alone, they cannot move India ahead. We need to have skilled workforce. Skilled means in addition to skills which are necessary in IT industry, say for example, software skills and hardware skills related to software as well as hardware, we need to have people with skills which are necessary in all other sectors of society, which is non-IT sectors, non-IT. For example, basic, fundamental, pure science, for example, there also skills are very much required. So NEP intends to establish a strong workforce equipped with functional skills, including life skills. Remember very much. Life skills are very, very important. And now we will just understand what life skills are now, later. So skill development is a significant driver to address poverty reduction by improving employability and inclusive growth. Yesterday I was watching news at national level, and at national level only, now it has become a threat that poverty is also increasing. Though economically we are moving fast, even people below that poverty line, they are also increasing. So this can be addressed only with the help of skill development. So skills definitely will produce citizens with high productivity, increasing employment opportunities. Now we are seeing even among so many colleges, universities, no recruitments are going on. They are being simply running using the part-time jobs or part-time job seekers. Okay, outsourcing people who are skilled. So many people have been removed in almost all the schools and colleges and universities because they are not in a position to run the show. So all these problems are still going on. So NEP is a medicine for that. It's a solution for that. It not only reduces the social stigma associated with considering vocation as a career opportunity, but also provides students a plethora of promising career avenues. Now, gone are those days saying that I can't work, no employment opportunities like that. So if you are skilled, definitely there are hundreds of opportunities. Now, these days, getting a job or getting an employment is not very problematic. It can be everybody's cup of tea. The only thing is you need to know what job is existing, what is the skill demand, do I have that skill? If not, what is the gap that is existing? What they expect in me, what I am in reality. So if that gap is filled using the connecting the dots, definitely we will reach the expected level. So equipping the manpower of the country with an emphasis on developing technical and soft skills among graduates and PG students, it focuses on employability, providing students with the right skill set. Now, what is a skill set? Now, earlier we used to talk about only skills, one skill, two skills, something like that. Now, if you take up any profession, it requires not one skill, but a set of related skills. Say, for example, if you want to become a very good teacher, a frontline high-profile teacher, you need to have both soft skills as well as skills related to IT, skills related to artificial intelligence. I need to have a set of skills. Say, for example, a teacher should know the problems of students by being in his or her position. Now, that is called empathy. We need to have communication skills. We need to have decision-making skills. We need to have IT-related skills, software or hardware. We need to know how artificial intelligence can be used to solve the problems of our curriculum development, curriculum transaction, curriculum evaluation, and whatnot, even evaluation. Okay. So, no, a teacher to become a high-profile skilled labor in educational industry, he needs to have around 12, 15, 20 skills. So the whole group of these skills which are necessary are called skill set. Skill set means all the related skills should be there. So the vision of the government via this initiative, through NEP 2020, is to meet this 2030 agenda. What is that agenda? Now, Indian youth are becoming jobless after 2030. So we need to address that immediately. In addition to that, we need to have a sustainable development of our country for a long time. Even after 2030, it should go like that. So lifelong learning and a lot of opportunities should be given to all the students so that they become employed. And it not only doing all these things, in addition to that, creates a workforce empowered with the necessary and continuously upgraded skills. That is very important. So there is something called upskilling. Okay, upskilling. You need to develop additional skills along with the skills which are already existing in you. Okay, like that. Knowledge and internationally recognized qualifications to gain access to decent employment and ensure India's competitiveness in the dynamic global market. So sometimes it is positive because our Indians are getting jobs in other countries because they can't survive in our country because of so much of population. So when global market analysis is done, it is a boon to every country that if it cannot give employment opportunities in its own society, naturally it can allow its graduates to work for other countries in different parts of the world. So within as well as outside. So both should go together so that at least our other countries are giving employment opportunities to our graduates. Indians are surviving in other parts of the globe. Like that, even other countries, they are surviving in India also. So increases the productivity and employability of workforce both in the organized as well as unorganized sectors. You should know what is organized sector and unorganized sector. Organized sector means all formal agencies where there is a definite structure for employment. Unorganized means which is staggering, which is not stable. So it is informal, sometimes non-formal, and there is no guarantee that a man continues to work in that organization. Anytime, anything can happen. Unorganized. Say, for example, see the labor market in agriculture, it is unorganized. Okay, did you understand? I'm sorry for this. So, NEP helps to increase the participation of youth and women, disabled, and even other disadvantaged sections of the society. Now, these are all the things which are very important to know because what NEP is doing through focusing on skill development. Synergizes efforts of the various sectors. So there are various sectors. The only thing is we need to have a synergy. So labor market demands are always there and NEP is helping even for that. Now, leaving all other things aside, there are 4 approaches for transformation of India to meet the requirements in the global market in the near future. One is holistic development, development of an individual as a whole, Now, there are so many parameters of human personality. Okay, knowledge, understanding, all right, then attitude, then skill, awareness, all these things. So there are 3 domains of human development. I think some of you must be knowing: cognitive domain, affective domain, and psychomotor domain. Cognitive domain is something related to intellectual abilities, development of intellectual abilities among the youth. Knowledge, understanding, application, analysis, synthesis, evaluation, memory, all these things. Okay, recognition, recalling, all these things. So they all come under cognitive domain, which speaks about intellectual dimension of human personality. Then affective domain talks about the emotional aspects of human personality. Say, for example, understanding oneself, understanding others. Most of the life skills are related to the self-management, which is focused in this particular domain. That is affective domain, decision-making, emotional control, stress management, okay, then empathy, sympathy, whatever it is. Then say conflict, resolving conflicts, decision making, I repeated, of course. So all these things will come under what is called attitude or emotions. That is the second domain. After cognitive, we have affective domain. Affective, something which gets affected, our emotions. And the third and the most important one, which is right now under focus, is the psychomotor domain. Psycho means, of course, mind or brain. Motor means the muscles. Now, mind and muscles, brain and muscles are connected through nerves. So skill is the product of neuromuscular coordination that occurs in the human body. Neuromuscular muscles are operating by following the orders given by the brain through the nerves. Neuromuscular coordination. That results in skill. Any skill is the byproduct of knowledge and neuromuscular coordination. So that is psychomotor domain. All the three domains should get trained. Now that is called holistic development. And NEP offers a lot of flexibility and choices these days. Okay. Now it is both. Let me tell you, we are having a lot of scope today for employment selection, choice, to make a lot of choices. Then NEP strongly focuses on skill development. That is what we are observing and we are discussing about it. And this can happen only through integrating vocational training. So there is a shift from the conventional content-heavy and rote learning practice towards holistic learning through a creative and multidisciplinary curriculum. So that focuses equally on other subjects such as humanities, sports, fitness, language development, and cultural aspects are also taken into consideration. So apart from science and math, all these things are embedded in the curriculum. So these things are always there under holistic development. Now, flexibility of choices, lot many sectors are there in the society. A student can opt many things. Now, at the end of today's session, I'll give you a big list of sectors of human employment in Indian context. Skill development, of course, we have already seen. Vocational training, NEP 2020 is strongly recommending the integration of vocational training right from 6th standard. Now, these days, we are seeing that most of the CBSE schools have taken it very seriously. And when the student enters 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th, most of them are having, many kinds of skills which are called fundamental skills. They come out of secondary education. They get into higher secondary education, which is totally specialized. So a lot of entrepreneurship is also going on. So NEP 2020, how it is helping for transformation of the country. We have already discussed all these points. Anyhow, as a matter of sequence, I am telling you this. NEP 2020, it's a transformative blueprint for the nation's education system that has generated widespread enthusiasm among educators and schools. The very intervention of NEP 2020 has given a lot of, it's something like a magical solution to the widely existing problems since many decades. It's a visionary policy. We are saying that. Many other people might have told about these things. So I need not to discuss about these things, which have already been reported. A UNICEF report of 2019 estimates that at least 47% of Indian youth are not on the track to have the education and skills necessary for employment after 2013. So nearly 50% of our Indian youth, they don't have skills so that they can be employed after, say, 5 years. Look, 5 years gap is very, very short. Just a blink of eye. Okay. Another study estimates that merely only 20% out of the 5 million students who graduate every year get employed in India. So 20% of the graduates who are coming out of universities, they find employment opportunities and nearly 80% do not have. So where should they go? So the main reason for this kind of poor employability is that often there is a demand-supply gap between the skills required by the students and the skills required by the employers. Now this is called skill gap, skill mismatch. What is this? Nearly 80% of the graduates, they are not possessing skills which are really required by the industries or the employers. So this is of a great concern. Our own children may be the victims of this kind of things. So the main concern of NEP 2020 is to address not only the issue of provision of adequate employment opportunities, but also increasing the employment or employability skills among the existing students. On one side, giving jobs is a problem. And on the other side, if you give a job, what do you do to enhance their employable skills? Giving education itself is a problem right now. That is why most of the universities are finding very difficult to do this particular kind of executing this kind of giving education at higher level and even at secondary level. See, if you give education, that itself is a great achievement. But beyond that, what are you doing to enhance the skills? So, if you just make them graduates, it is not enough. Graduated, unemployed people are a threat. Non-graduated or non-formally educated people can find jobs elsewhere, at least in agriculture industry. But graduated individuals without jobs, okay, especially they want white collar jobs, okay, those who want, will soon become antisocial elements. So how do you address this kind of problem? Fine. So the talent skill gap exists significantly at various levels, affecting the employability scenario in almost every sector of Indian society. So this is called talent skill gap. They are talented, they can work, but providing them skilled training is a big problem. How do you provide like that? So as per the International Labour Organization, there will be a skill deficit of 29 million by 2030. I have already told you this, which significantly affects our country's GDP. Right now, we are enjoying saying that we are one among the top 5. Our economic development is too good, but this may not long last. So due to this gap, businesses are unable to find and recruit talent that matches their expectations due to the lack of futuristic skills. You can ask me a question, what is mismatch? What is futuristic skill? Mismatch means what the industry requires, but what our students have. Okay, so this is very, very important. So the major reason for this is the inadequacy of our education system along with the companies not prioritizing our graduates for giving jobs. So there is a mismatch. So this is the high time to think about how we can imbibe or introduce or plug in the skills to this formal education system. So NEP 2020 is a blessing in disguise that will help bridge this gap. Now, this 1 hour of discussion among us, okay, or from me, sharing of my knowledge, is something related to what NEP is doing. So NEP 2020 is a blessing in disguise that will help bridge this gap by providing students with industry relevant skills. Now, what is an industry relevant skill? If I want to join a private university as a vice chancellor or a pro vice chancellor or an assistant professor or a counselor, for example, I need to have skill set related to counseling. I need to know what is counseling, what are the principles of counseling, what are the different techniques of counseling, and how I should employ those skills to solve the problems of my students who are studying in my university. So my university will offer me a job of student counselor, parent counselor, counselor of administrators, counselor of the people who are working in a management sector. So like that, I need to have a skill set like this. So without skill set, it is highly impossible for me to survive in an industry. So my industry will see that only the skilled person can be imbibed. So this is called industry relevant skill. Industry relevant skill. So making them future ready professionals. Now look at these beautiful words, future ready professionals. It is not after getting into a sector, being employed, getting skills may be difficult. But before getting into employment clutches, better to have skills. I'm seeing that whether it is a banking industry or a teacher industry or any kind of sectors, they are allowing their employees to do courses related to artificial intelligence. Most of the people are very busy these days. Okay. working from home or working physically in their industry and coming back home in the evening and attending some online courses related to what? Artificial intelligence, 3 months course, 6 months course. They need to pass that. Okay, they need to get certified. Then only their jobs will be continued. Otherwise, soon they become unemployed or underemployed. So keeping that in view, NEP 2020 offers a lot of scope, lot of provision to make our students future-ready professionals. Soon after they come out of the universities, they are ready with the skills so that immediately when they are employed, they start working based on their skills. So industry-relevant skills should be imbibed by our students through a changed scenario of higher education, focusing on skill development, and they should come out of the universities as individuals or professionals with all the future skills which are necessary, or futuristic skills. And that is a dream. India, largest working age population, with largest working population in the world by 2030, and it's a challenge to provide employment to huge youth population, I have already told you. So improving the employability of students requires a new vision with curricular support. Now, that is what the vision of 2020 is. So NEP 2020 is paving the way for experiential and skill-based learning aimed at promoting students' employability skills in the future. So employs skill-based learning models, SBLMs, that help acquiring skills through practice and persistence. So all these things we have already told. NEP seeks to equip young people with the knowledge and skills necessary to confidently lead the country to superpower, focusing on holistic development. I have already told about it. So India has already become a superpower, one of the top 5 countries I told you. Again, it needs to come forward or go further to the next level. So it focuses on holistic development, flexible and multidisciplinary education. You must be knowing about the new education policy, okay, the new pattern of this one. So they will be certified, they will be given, certification program, degree or degree certificate, honors, all these things. At any level, they can come out of education stream having a particular minimum level of skill set in there. And inclusive practices. Inclusive means you must be knowing. See, even unemployed or underemployed can be seen in any sectors, of course. Disadvantaged group are there, women are there, people with challenges, visually challenged, auditory challenged, they are also there. They all will have same kind of education so that inclusively they can learn and become employable. So NEP 2020 bridges the gap between normative skill expectancies. Normative skill expectancies means what really the industries expect, and existential skilled person. What actually is there, what is required, that gap was more. Now these days the gap is being filled. And if NEP continues to work like this in all the states or in the entire country, definitely this gap is going to be filled within a short period of time. So all these things are related to same kind of points, which I would like to just forego. Now earlier, skills means only 3 skills were there. Literates means what? They knew only 3 things: reading, writing, and doing some basic mathematics, that is arithmetic. So these are called 3 R's. 3 R's. Reading, writing, and arithmetic. R's are there. Reading, R is there. Writing, WR. That R is there. Arithmetic, AR. So that is called 3 R's. So earlier, during 1970s and 80s, literate means anybody who knows these things. But literates in the modern digital age, that is present scenario, are, look at this, people who have ICT and life skills. Look at this. People who are having skills related to software, hardware, application of electronic gadgets, along with using their intellectual skills, which are called soft skills. Most of them are life skills. So today, if any graduate is there without IT related skills or life skills, they are not called literates. They are only graduates. I mean, of course, but they are not skilled. So they need to have leadership skills, very important, communication skills, skills related to critical thinking, vimarshatmak chintan hota hai. Then teamwork and collaboration, problem solving abilities, decision making skills, thinking on the grounds of analysis and synthesis, resiliency, becoming very strong, standing ahead, standing alone, having a lot of stability. And all these things powered with professionalism and strong work ethics. That is also very important. Now, these are very few skills which are expected in any graduate who comes out of a university today. And you know very well that even if you take 21st century skills, especially in US, there are some 4 to 5 skills which are very importantly seen there. Critical thinking, creative thinking, communication, collaboration. Now, these are the 4 or 5 skills which start with C: communication, critical thinking, creative thinking, collaboration. Okay, all these things are very much important. Otherwise, they cannot survive. No, do we have a curriculum? The question is this. I'm sorry, I'm not being interactive because this topic is something that you can ask me questions at the end. Something that which requires a lot of explanation with illustrations. So, do we have a curriculum right now, whether at secondary level or higher education level, both undergraduate and postgraduate, which can give a lot of scope for the enhancement of all these things? And that is a question on hand. We really have all these things, but not to the required extent, not being focused, not being consciously handled, taught, and developed. We see gold medal students, students with gold medals getting ranks at university level, but they do not know how to communicate with these people of the communities. Look at this. They are not very good decision makers. They don't empathize others. They lack leadership qualities. So they are, Ramya madam, please. So they need to have all these skills in addition to the curricular aspects. Fine. And you know very well that Industrial Revolution was there, increasing demand for youth with a domain expertise. What is domain expertise? Domain means a particular field. So industry-based expertise, you see. With the digital literacy, today a man without digital literacy is not considered anywhere. Minimum level of computer applications, at least MS Office. That is required. And industry relevant skills. So NEP on skill development is an umbrella framework. Look at this word, umbrella frame. It conglomerates many things. Devised by the government of India to develop employable skills among the youth of the country through learning and producing workers adequately skilled to meet the requirements of the industry. So this is very, very important. So NEP has to be appreciated. So skill-based education has its own aim to equip learners with practical abilities and attitudes. Attitude is also very, very important. Okay, that can help our students to solve their problems, create opportunities, and achieve their goals with the vision. The aim of National Skill Development Mission, we have got NSDM. Now, these are the efforts by Indian national government. So there is something called National Skill Development Mission under the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. Okay. It works to ensure that youth in India are trained well at the highest global standards. Look at this, highest global standards. You may not believe, a man who is licensed to drive a car in India will not be allowed to drive cars in other countries. Say, for example, Canada, it will have its own test. There, the student has to take again the driving course, undergo a test, severe test, and then only they will give a license. So that doesn't mean that the Indian standard is not good. It works well with the Indian scenario. So like that, whatever the skill that has been given in any country should be at global level global standard. So that is very, very important. Whether it is production industry or service industry, that should be at global level. So in order to enable them to access employment opportunities even outside, abroad. So conventional content-loaded curriculum with rote learning practices is of no use. Gradually, now it has been modified towards holistic learning. So advocates a creative and multidisciplinary curriculum that focuses equally on other subjects such as humanities, sports. I have already told about these things. We have discussed all these issues, but as a matter of flow, it has come once again as a logical sequence. So let us move on to the next thing. And among skills, there are many types. Basically, there are 3 types of skills. Now, before the interval, we will just have a small discussion on this. Another 5 minutes, we will just end up the first part of the show. Functional skills. I can ask a question, of course. What are functional skills? But look, we have got very less time and the topic is very vast. So I'm really sorry. You know answer for all these questions, some of you. Functional skill means any skill that keeps operating so that a man can survive, a man can solve the problem. Look at this. Functional skill means a skill that is being operated, that is being applied, that is being used, that works. Okay, so that a man can survive, so that the problem can be solved, so that he can say he can become stabilized, sustainable. So that is called functional skill. So these are the abilities or talents inherited at birth and developed through experience and learning. Some of the skills are by birth we have, by birth. There can be quite a number of examples. And the same skills can continue with upskilling. Say, for example, carpentry or any skill may be inherited through the genes. Okay, we have heard a teacher. Okay, a teacher is sometimes said that, oh, he has inherited all the good teacher qualities from his father who was a teacher. Something like that. A player also sometimes. So these are the abilities which are inherited through the generations because of heredity as a matter of principles of genetics. But again, they have been what? Again, they have been sharpened. They have been so making some decisions, repairing of machines or calculation of taxes, etc. These are learned, of course. These are learned through the experiences. Now, these are called functional skills. Then there are some skills which are called self-management skills, how I should manage myself. So these are the behaviors developed through learning to cope up with the environment and the people and conditions in it. So how to survive in a particular environment, particular office, particular industry, particular university, or particular workplace. So how to understand other people, how I should behave, how I should manage myself, how I should adjust very well with the changing conditions of my workplace. Being energetic, I need to have my vigor till the end of my day, till the end of my show, till the end of my service period. Determined and resourceful. So being energetic, being determined, okay, having a lot of determination to work till the goal is achieved and being so resourceful. Then some other skills are special knowledge skills like mastering specific body of information related to work. So last 2 minutes. Profession and occupation. So what skills are necessary for me to survive in my skill? So in my work, like accounting skills, catering, for example, real estate, brokerage, etc. So all these things are related factors. Now we need to know about vocationalization of education or adding vocational education to our. In the next half of our session, next session, we will know how vocational education can be of use in Indian context and what are the job sectors that are existing today and what changes have taken place in Indian education system, keeping in view its vision. I hope, I'm sorry that it was one-way communication. This kind of topic demands that, and at the end of second session,